Hey guys, it's Mang. I'm going to play some higher tours because my first video was just on tours 1, 2, and 3. So let's play a tour 4. Eagle Peak. Cool. I've only ever played this on my main accounts from the second tees, like in tournaments. This has never been a tour that I've actually grinded. Rocket didn't seem to have enough topspin to clear that. So because of the headwind I can't reach this. I might try and just bounce here and curl left to keep this into the fairway. If I had a Titan and a very long wood, let's play Viper. I might be able to make this in 2, but that's kind of mean-spirited considering my opponent here used a basic ball. This great right is gonna punish me. So this doesn't really have any chance of going out of the rough. I also really don't need to overpower this at all. This is just not going to change what club I use on the next shot, so there's no value in overpowering this. A very common mistake, people getting really excited about overpowering their rough iron like that extra 10, 20 yards matters. And it almost never does, and the only thing you're doing is introducing the chance of going into the rough again. .5. So I have a backbone 9 pretty much right at max. That's awesome. So if I put some backspin on this so that I'm happy with its rollout, then I can play this pretty much right at max. We're going like 2.4. So 3.5, 2.4, something like this. My line is not quite straight, so I'm going to adjust it. Great left. My timing is not very good today. Okay, too much backspin, didn't give myself a chance. Let's see. So this shootout, I always felt like the most consistent bounce area is right here on the front lip of this shadow. So I'm going to want to bounce here and then curl to the right to try and counter this wind. It is a slight headwind, so that's going to slow my ball roll down. I might not even add any spin here. So 5.0, we're going to adjust just over 3 rings. And we're going to add right curl. A little unlucky. Fast rollout. Because of that slope, sometimes your ball just happens to meet the green real flat and you get a quote-unquote fringe glitch. Wow, this guy's playing this rounded bounce. That's funny. Yeah, I wouldn't. He does not adjust for the wind. You don't feel like you're going to be really left. My typical plan on this one is drive to the left, but I'm usually playing it in Tour 9, I guess. So I have an Apocalypse. Extra Mile doesn't have a lot of curl to make sure it stays in the fairway. I still kind of feel like left is better than right. The alternative is to pull out a QB so I have enough curl, because my third bag does have a QB in it. Let's think. So if I play over here, maybe this is fine. Play here, bounce this, curl right. Am I going to be able to reach there with a basic ball? I'm just not sure. Let's play to the right then. So if I pull out a QB, and I'm okay max OPing with the QB just because it has so much more accuracy. And I curl this right a lot. Let's do that. So this guy has a real decision. He can try and rough bump, or maybe just stick this rough iron barely on that chunk of the fairway, or he could just lay up to the fairway right next to him and just play the wood approach. He made it. So I have two options. I can rough bump right here. I'm planning to just stick it like that, but I'm dealing with this tree. I can just curl left and make that work. Alternatively, I can bump with some topspin and plan on rolling up. That seems safer. So I'm going to add topspin just to the point where it looks like it might even overpass the rough. And we're going to adjust up, but just a little bit. And we're going to curl left. I'm okay putting the topspin on it so that it looks like you're close to hitting the rough, because I had some headwind, which is going to slow down my second bounce, and really didn't have very much chance at all of bouncing past the rough. Don't foolishly put overpower, of course. Let's move up to Tour 5. Ooh, pretty bad headwind. Does my quarterback have enough topspin that I feel confident I'll roll out? Not really. Alright, so I'm going to have to pull out the extra mile because it has more topspin. So I really want... Would I rather do this? Not really. Nope. Alright, 3, maybe 4 rings. Let's do that. Great right. That's not good. Okay. The non-max distance overpower. Interesting. That's still a really good shot. Let's see if I can make this sand wedge. Is there really any value in top spinning from here? No, there isn't. That should miss left. This is a very short par 4, which is very drivable in 1. This guy is not giving himself the chance to drive it in 1. He's going to end up with a short iron. Can I play this with a quarterback? Probably not. Maybe a 2 bounce. It might work. Play up there. Let's try it. Didn't clear the bunker. The reason I don't like my opponent's approach is because he basically foregoes the chance of putting for eagle. Whereas if I had used an extra mile and hit it perfect, I probably could have. If I had a higher level quarterback, I probably would have been fine. even this sand chip might actually be easier than what he had to do. So let's take a look. How much distance is this? There's max, and I'm basically right at mid for this. I don't want to put any spin on this. And 3.9 for a Malibu 5 mid is 0.84 rings, not quite 1. So let's do that. Bad timing. The Big Dog 4, he doesn't have a ton of ball guide. And that whole area is pretty inconsistent for its bounce. This looks like it's going to go quite a bit too far. So there's my Viper. Now let's look at how downhill this is. You see how raised the tee box is in elevation? So if I put a max backspin Viper, I actually think that's a pretty good amount of rollout. So the wind is going to push me forward and to the right. So let's line up about here. I'm going to call this something like a 20% elevation modifier. So I have 4.16 rings. That is a pretty big adjustment that he completely ignored. That's pretty good. Let's play Tour 6. Ooh, new rule, hidden spin. We have an angled headwind. If I wanted to play this, I would need to adjust 5 rings way up here. So that would be a max overpower. And this is not a very consistent bounce. So we're going to play over here instead. Ooh. Ouch. Not a bad attempt. Looks like the safest play is a rough bump, or curl this to the left, maybe. But if you don't hit this, great. I mean, perfect. You're kind of SOL. So I'm actually going to play the rough bump with topspin and just kick out into the green like this. So if I aim here, I give myself any perfect or great just fine. And that's a good bit of overpower. I think that should be fun. City Park 1. So from the first tees, you have a pretty straight shot, whereas in the further back tees, you're kind of angled off to the left, and you pretty much want to use the fairway. But here, with the backbone, you can bounce pretty much right on the green and just put a bunch of backspin on it. And with such low wind, a massive 2 base wind, I'm not even sure if my opponent has enough backspin on his backbone 5 to do this shootout very well. You got a really good view, by the way, of that slopey green. So if we just plan on aiming like right here with a ton of backspin, right, we're basically going to drop the ball right next to the hole and allow it to roll towards it. And it's okay for it to be a little to the right because of the slope of this green. We're going to try and get the ball to roll up this right wall a little and then come back down in. So I might even take off just a little bit of backspin to give it some more roll. The 2.5 in the elevation, we're going to do this like 2 rings, like this. And this will be very close to the hole, I think. Okay, a little too much backspin. With the driver with a lot of curl, I do like playing this side on the right, but you need to curl a lot. So even if I pull out my QB, right, it's not high enough level, I can't reach, and I don't feel like using a Titan in Tour 6. So we're just going to play left, which makes the second shot much, much harder, but that's okay. We do have a wood and it's pretty much max. So the horizon here, which was probably the wrong wood to bag, but it doesn't really matter because even the Viper's not going to have enough backspin to deal with this. Really my only options are to rough bump here or to rough bump here. And if I'm going to go for it, I'm going for it. So 5.1 wind, and that's max, so we're pretty close to max. I'll put 80%. Gives me a 1.7 ring adjustment. So this seems fine. Here we go. When you play this in tour 10, 11, I think it's 11, and you play from the second or third tees, I mean, you'll have so much higher level equipment that you can probably drive the right side and not need to deal with this, or you'll have a sniper and you'll be able to put, 6 backspin and a bunch of left curl and bounce on the fairway and manage to stick the green with not much difficulty. But at such low levels, we deal with this crap. I don't even know how he's going to chip from that low a bunker shot. You like automatically fringe glitch from down there. It's a real pain. So if you look at his shot trajectory, it is so flat to the ground, right, that if he aims too close to himself, he's literally just going to hit the edge of the bunker. And if he aims closer to the hole, it's going to speed roll because he's just grazing the green. It's automatic fringe glitch. This shot is a nightmare. That underpower is completely screwing him. He's going to just hit the wall. That was unbelievable. That was probably the best shot I've ever seen. He even has a QB for the shootout. And he's playing with a Kingmaker, which is going to drop this wind from being 10 to only 6.6. He has plenty of options here. Personally, I would just make the safe play and go to the right and curl left. Did he not adjust for wind? Because this is like guaranteed in the water. Unbelievable. Let's see. So I get to deal with 9.2 wind. I think I need to rough bump in order to beat this guy. Am I really going to bounce here? It seems excessively dangerous. Alternatively, I can bounce here, curl left. It's just not that much curl. Guess I'm going to have to do it. Is this an underpower? Okay. That might have been one of the luckiest players I've ever seen, period. Just unbelievable. 10.8 tailwind. That's awesome. So if we spin around, right, we can look at the elevation. And it's kind of hard to eyeball it, but that's a good amount of elevation, at least 15%. So our real plan is just to max topspin and make sure we land in this fairway. So we really want to aim left, right over here, because the wind is going to push us kind of left. We don't need much overpower for this to have a lot of carry. Because of my position, he really needs to max topspin, possibly max overpower this. He really needs to give himself, the chip in. I don't know why he aims so far left. He's just in the rough. Maybe he thought that was fairway. I really need to get my Viper back in here. So you can actually curl off of this fairway. It's kind of sloped. Yeah, there it is. You can just barely get the ball guide here if you get a lucky rollout. So if I plan on playing up here, I can add a couple topspin and then plan on curling left. So let's do this. This is also quite uphill. A little uphill. But in any case, we're going to put it up here and curl left some. With the hope of rolling the fairway over into the green. Could have used some more topspin for sure. While it's his turn, we can actually count the green hash marks to our ball in order to get an idea of how, what percentage distance we are. Because every green square is 1 yard, so 1 yard box. And if you're counting across the diagonal, it's 1.4, because that's how squares work. So we can actually count our exact distance by looking at each of these in order to get a very clear idea of what our wind per ring is. So 9.3, and we're aiming something like 10 yards, 7, 1.4, maybe 12. So let's try and make this a nice precise wind adjustment. Like 1.72 is what I'm getting. Meanwhile, he can emoji spam me. So the final result looks like this. But with the side wind, dink, right on the pin. I think I'm going to call it there for this video. Good luck. I'm going to slowly move up the tours. It's weird commentating while playing, but I'm figuring it out. Cool. Take care, guys. Good luck.